Hey, this is Matt once again. Recently, Corey sent me a request to talk about Tony Todd. And then you have this here where sadly Tony Todd has passed away, I believe because of cancer. I don't know which type of cancer it was, so I apologize if I did something wrong about that, but it sucks. That's first and foremost, it sucks because he was a great actor. He was a talented actor. He was an actor that, in my opinion, I wish he was in the star of much more movies. I wish he was the star, the hero of much more films. I don't think he got the respect he deserved, the attention he deserved when he was with us. Now, I've seen stuff he's appeared in, of course. My first time seeing Tony Todd was the remake of Night of the Living Dead. At that point, I had never seen the original. I had not seen Dawn. I had not seen Day of the Dead. So, Night of the Living Dead I saw, I think, on, I don't know if it was on VHS or on cable. And I was just mesmerized by Tony Todd's presence, his mannerisms, his voice, and just took control of the scene. You could buy him as a leader, you could buy him as someone that wanted to help people in that movie. And at the end, you just felt so bad, so sorry, and just gave a great performance doing that, detailing that. Where the bit where he finds the keys and he's laughing about it, exasperated but laughing, where this was here all along. They didn't have to shoot, and it was here all along, and sort of the tragic joke of it all. He's a guy that easy to depend on and root for, and then you see what happens. It just makes it much more tragic. And now, to go on onto a tangent, I did see Night, Dawn, Day later. Dawn of the Dead I love, it's my favorite. I quite like Day of the Dead. I'm not a fan of the original Night of the Living Dead. I'm not going to go into those reasons. That's not what this is about, but I'm not a fan of the original Night of the Living Dead. I much prefer the remake. One of the reasons is it's great to see Tony Todd in that. Dwayne Jones did good in the original, but Tony Todd was magnetic, in my opinion, in that movie, and I think that's an underrated remake and pretty damn good. Sadly, I wish it was a bit bloodier, gorier, among other stuff, but I still quite like that remake. Tony Todd was wonderful in it. Then, what I saw next was probably Candyman, where it became horror icon from that. Now, the second one, I barely remember. I don't think I hated it. The third one I hated. It looked like a soap opera. It was shot like a daytime soap opera with the material they used, like the film quality. I thought the acting was terrible. The story sucked. Day of the Dead 3, that for some reason has a Blu-ray, I thought sucked. The second one I thought was eh. First one, very well done for what it needs to do. Where Tony Todd had this Bela Lugosi Dracula type of sophistication to him. And he didn't have to yell and scream in that role. It was, Helen, be my victim. And he got under your skin, and that voice was so raw and deep and intimidating, but in a level of theatrical sophistication that really brought something more to the table that could have been a, I don't know, cookie cutter, generic. I know at one point Eddie Murphy wanted to be Candyman. I'm like, you want to see how that could have turned out? Watch Vampire in Brooklyn, which I think is an awful movie. But Candyman, I remember being freaked out when I was a kid by it, being creeped out. Like the kid screaming in the bathroom, and there's blood, so you get the idea his nuts was taken or whatever, and the way the hood, it just seemed much more vicious with the sound effects ripping into people, and felt more horrific than other horror films at that time. And Tony Todd's performance, because he wasn't joking, he wasn't winking at the camera, he was deadly serious, and a damn good actor to make it really believable. He brought like a little like romantic like I said, theatrical quality Candyman, and much better. I mean, much the better for it. You want to see how you ruin that? Go watch the remake with Sally. Tony Todd has a little cameo in that, kinda at the end. Horrible. I hate the Candyman remake. It's so horrible, so terrible. But the original, it's definitely a kind of a bummer of a movie. But so I don't rewatch it a lot. But it's still a well-made movie. And you know, he was in other roles, Platoon, which I like Platoon, but I don't watch that a whole lot. I remember him in The Rock, being one of the people that worked with Ed Harris. Or the great moment where Nick Cage is talking about Elton John and other stuff, and Tony says something to the effect of, "I don't like that soft ass shit." Well, that's the thing. It's you. You're the Rocket Man. And what a way to go for that character. They just shot, catapulted by a rocket out the damn window. So even like that role, it's not like a big role, but you know, it's a role that Tony Todd made work. And of course, The Crow as the henchman of Michael Wincott. You know, he doesn't have a whole lot to do, but he's a great asset to be there with his voice and stature. I remember an episode of The X-Files, Sleepless, he was in. I think the episode was about Vietnam vets that were part of this experiment, that they could not sleep. So because they couldn't sleep, they didn't need to sleep. All that time you would take to sleep and they could go do double the missions, but then it's affected them as years has gone on. Remember Tony Todd being very effective in that episode. And of course, Final Destination, where he's working at the morgue or whatever. I'll see you soon. And there was always this rumor of like, who was he? Death warning him, like, I'm gonna get you soon. Was he the Grim Reaper? I mean, there's a lot of theories as to who he is. He was in Final Destination 2. You hear his voice in Final Destination 3, I think one of the rides. I think one of them he came back. I guess he's in the new one that's coming out next year, and that'll be the last film he was in. Yeah, I don't know if it was ever shown as to who he truly was, but there's a lot of, you know, rumors out there. But, you know, especially that first film, he worked very well. He had that look and that tone of voice, and you didn't quite know whether to trust him or not type of thing. It worked very well. And even roles like Wishmaster, where he was like a kind of a dormant, like bodyguard, that, hey, you know, you can't get through. Don't you wish to escape? Yeah. Then you have the wish where he's trapped kind of in that water tank. Kind of like the whole thing of Houdini trying to get out of the water while in a straitjacket. I remember I could visualize the look of it where he's screaming underwater. Wishmaster is a fun movie. That's a film that doesn't get talked about much, but Wishmaster is a fun one. Has some very creative gags. Yeah, some iffy CG in it, but there's a lot of good gags. Very creative wishes. A lot, you know, Robert Englund's in it. Andrew Divoff's great as the villain. Ted Raimi has a cameo. Kane Hodder does. I know there's a fun picture you see where Tony Todd, Robert Englund, and Kane Hodder are on set. So I thought that was really cool to see. Robert Kurtzman of KMB directed that. And yeah, there are some fun practical effects in that. And I think about it, I mean, I don't know what he did recently. I'm going to look that up. But I mean, those are roles I think of when I think of Tony Todd. Night of the Living Dead, 1990, Candyman, Final Destination. Now I know he was in Enemy Territory because I think that was the film that had Ray Parker Jr. as one of the lead characters, and this guy, this yuppie, whatever, is there to collect something. He's trying to leave. Something happens, and Ray Parker Jr. is like the main maintenance guy or something like that, or repairman. He's someone like that, and then they both have to escape these gang members. I remember thinking it was okay, but wishing it was a bit better. But Tony Todd was good as the villain, the Count, because I think his gang was called the Vampires. I also remember that movie, at the end credits, they rip off the Halloween theme. Because as the end credits play, you hear, the Halloween theme. And then it starts to, boom, dun 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 dun, ba dun 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 dun. So, so I thought that was, that part I definitely remember. But looking through, yeah, Enemy Territory, Colors, yeah, I remember he stood up during a meeting and talked about the problems going on with the Danes. He was in Lean On Me, which I haven't seen in forever. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen some of these films, these TV movies. Ivory Hunters. Voodoo Dawn. A diabolical machete-wielding voodoo priest, Tony Todd. Turning Haitian migrant farm workers into flesh-eating zombie slaves. Never even heard of Voodoo Dawn. Keeper of the City I've heard of, because Louis Gossett Jr. is the star of it, but that's a TV movie. I never saw it. It was on Showtime. Of course, Excessive Force. He was the detective in that. That's a film that deserves a Blu-ray. In fact, I would like to watch that again, just because Thomas Ian Griffith stars in it. That's a fun movie. That sadly does not have a Blu-ray. Let's get Excessive Force on Blu-ray. That'd be nice. Of course, The Crow, Candyman 2, Beastmaster 3. Forgot about The Rock I mentioned. Wishmaster. Yeah, some of this I don't know. Like Stir or Tracy Lords. Control Factor, Sci-Fi Channel, Scarecrow Slayer. This is when, like, Sally, he didn't really get a lot of starring parts, and it's like, okay, we'll put you here in a bit part in, The Prophecy Forsaken, or some sci-fi film called Minotaur. Minotaur? Wow, starring Tom Hardy. Like, the Tom Hardy that would go on to, Venom and all those movies. That Tom Hardy? Wow. Okay. Shadow Dead Riot. He was in the Hatchet films. I thought he actually did a good job in Hatchet 2. I did. I thought in Hatchet 2 actually did a pretty decent job. Oh, the Eden formula? Yeah, that's what Jeff Fahey and Tony Todd, they just stole a lot of footage from the Carnosaur films. He was the voice of the Fallen in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I completely forgot about that. Final Destination 5 he came back for. By the way, like Dreamin' American. Yeah, that's what it says. Dreamin' American. Bade, Jack the Reaper. Like, this doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. That's the thing, it's just, Night of the Living Dead, Darkest Dawn. Tony Todd came back to voice Ben? Okay, so that's not the animated film I saw of Night of the Living Dead. I saw a different one. Does this one take place in New York? Daniel Harris as Barbara. Bill Moseley as Johnny. Joel Pilato as Cooper. I never saw this one. Tom Sizemore as the Chief. Just curious, what 3.8? Oh no. If 3.8, that means this is one of those that the cast seems interesting, but looks like the animation's not too good. Well, again, just looking through this. Wait, Tony Todd is in the fourth Hatchet film? I saw that. I don't remember him in it. Because wouldn't his character be dead? Yeah, wouldn't he be dead in that movie? Yeah, he would have been dead. Maybe it's like some other like flashback foot. I don't. I barely remember those Hatchet movies. I really do. He was in Bulletproof 2. Completely forgot about that. A film called Bitch Ass. I hate how they say like starring Tony Todd, but he's going to be in it for like 5 minutes. A film called Stream. The Bunker. Final Destination Bloodlines, which is coming out 2025. That'll be his final film. Well, there you go. So yeah, I'm looking through these. I looked at the titles. I looked at the covers, and I'm sure Tony Todd will do what he can in those films. It's just, this is a guy whose talent should have been utilized a lot more in Hollywood. He could be a commanding lead, commanding presence, great voice. You know, a few of my friends said he had a great voice for like he'd have a great voice for radio. It's just sad, you know. It takes until the person dies before people realize, oh wow, this guy was really good. He was really talented, and from what I understand, he was like a nice guy, and no one really has anything bad to say about him. Apparently, he was good to people at conventions. Damn shame. It's a damn shame. So rest in peace to Tony Todd. And toast to him. Just sucks. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.